Bunch of losers.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Space Adventure Cobra. Not because I dislike it, but because I barely know anything about it. And maybe that's a good thing. The good news is, you don't need any prior knowledge of the characters or story to follow along, although obviously that won't hurt. Or maybe it will. For all I know, this could be a terrible rendition that destroys the legacy of this beloved story. Either way, let me tell you what it's about and what stood out to me. I was given a review code for this and a fat paycheck to tell you that it's amazing. Jokes obviously, no cash incentives or shady deals were involved, and every opinion here is 100% my own. Okay, so for the uninitiated, what is Space Adventure Cobra? Originally a late 70s manga that became an animated film in the early 80s, it's since spawned multiple adaptations. It's unquestionably a cult classic, so how does that translate into a video game? This is a run-and-gun action platformer that strikes a great balance between combat and light problem solving. It has elements of a Metroidvania through some of the backtracking, but it's mostly linear. Based on the original anime series, the game delivers plenty of action while still packing in a surprising amount of story. You play as Cobra, a space pirate who hunts treasure, battles villains, and drops one-liners like it's his job. In terms of design, this is about as old school as it gets. It's a completely offline experience with zero microtransactions, season passes, or even online leaderboards. You can pony up some extra cash for a deluxe edition which includes an extra mission, but that's really about as modern as it gets. It's not the longest game, you can probably finish it in about 6 to 7 hours, but there's plenty of replay value here. So if you care about getting your money's worth, this game delivers in that department.
Excuse me for not letting you die in peace, but I have a question to ask. Try to answer correctly. Where's Catherine, the woman with the tattooed back?
She's in the dungeons, at the bottom of the prison. It's the isolation ward.
Thank you, good fellow. Excuse me, but you have to take a little nap now.
Space Adventure Cobra: The Awakening is a space opera with spaghetti western vibes and pulp sci-fi flair. It blends bounty hunters, galactic mafias, aliens, and femme fatales into high-stakes adventure. Apparently the influence for the main character was James Bond, and if all of that sounds ridiculous, you're not wrong. The game adapts the first 12 episodes of the original anime series. Each episode includes 1 to 4 missions, bookended by an animated cutscene that seems to be lifted directly from the show, possibly redubbed with slightly tweaked dialogue. Missions are fully voiced too. The voice acting is great, delivering just the right amount of cheesy charisma, and the writing is entertaining enough that I never once wanted to hit skip. Of course, skipping is an option if you want to get straight into the action. It's an interesting way to consume the original anime for sure, but I can't help wondering if fans would have preferred a new story rather than a faithful retread.
This sniper's starting to get on my nerves. We're gonna have a little chat. I don't feel so well.
The in-game action is frantic, demanding quick reflexes and a bit of problem solving. You have numerous weapons in your arsenal and gadgets at your disposal, and using the right one at the right time is key to making it through each section. Enemy variety is decent, though you will see some cookie-cutter clones pop up here and there. Many require specific weapons or tactics to take down, which becomes a wonderfully complex problem to solve when the screen is swarming with enemies. Your main weapon is the Psycho Gun, and you'll rely heavily on the Psycho Shot ability. This lets you control the projectile's trajectory, which is crucial for clearing large groups and hitting hard-to-reach interactive elements. Movement tools include a grappling hook, wall climbing boots, and a dash that provides a brief window of invincibility. Some areas stay locked until you've unlocked specific abilities, so there's incentive to replay earlier missions, and that's kind of why it's like a Metroidvania. Each mission has secret areas and upgrades to find. Upgrades boost health, your psychometer, and your special attack gauge. The special attack is a powerful win button that wipes out every enemy on screen, a lot like the cop car in Streets of Rage 1, perfect for clearing rooms or softening up tough enemies. The default difficulty is quite challenging, especially later on, but death isn't super punishing. You simply respawn at the last checkpoint with full health. The challenge doesn't come from tough enemies or even large quantities of them though, although you do get both of these. The real challenge is the controls. Cobra's abilities all use different button combinations, and remembering them takes some getting used to. What makes this hard is that there's a lack of consistency. So, for example, holding the left bumper and pressing the right bumper activates the Psycho Shot, but holding the left trigger and the right bumper, which is almost the same command, activates the Special Attack. Also, holding the left bumper locks you in position and allows you to aim and fire your primary weapon. You can aim the explosive cigars too, although to do that, you hold the left trigger and press and hold triangle. Why there isn't a unified aim button and separate fire buttons for each weapon is beyond me. Controls aside, when you get into the swing of things, combat has a satisfying cadence, and I especially enjoyed the boss fights. They could be a bit more challenging, although I like how they test your abilities and knowledge of the mechanics. My only complaint is that their designs, like the rest of the game's presentation, are a bit underwhelming. So let's talk about the presentation. If I'm being honest, I think the art style is a little flat. I don't mean literally, yeah, it's cel-shaded. What I mean is that it's kind of lacking personality and flair. It's fine, I guess, and I don't think it looks bad, but given the source material's 70s glam aesthetic, what we see in game feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. I think it would have been better as a 2D game, with a visual style that more closely matches the anime. There isn't really any reason for it to be 3D. There are the occasional sequences where the perspective changes, but it doesn't utilize them in any meaningful way, and it doesn't change how it plays. The audio design is pretty good though, and whoever did the voiceover work for Cobra did a great job. If it's not the original voice actor, it sounds a hell of a lot like him. The music is mostly great too. It really delivers that early 80s anime vibe with plenty of jazz and funk. Some of the ambient tracks used during missions sound out of place to me, although again, maybe this is just me showing my lack of experience with the source material. A few more tracks would have helped as the soundtrack does get repetitive towards the end, but overall it does a great job reinforcing the game's aesthetic. Underneath the slightly generic visuals, there's a pretty deep and challenging game here. There's some thoughtful level design, interesting mechanics, and it has a decent amount of replayability, with various upgrades and collectibles to find and better ranks to go for. There's a surprising amount of story, and the voice acting is top notch. Although, if you're a fan of Space Adventure Cobra, and I'm guessing if you're here there's a good chance you are, you might be disappointed that it's not an original adventure. The controls are a bit clunky, but they're not the end of the world. The biggest problem I have with it is the price. The action platformer genre is pretty competitive, and there are plenty of games that offer a similar challenge for far less, such as the incredible Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So $40 US or $60 bucks, give or take depending on the platform, feels a bit steep. Still, if you're looking for a fun action game and maybe an introduction to Space Adventure Cobra, this will entertain you for a solid 6 to 7 hours.